In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to farm the Hyperliquid Hyper EVM airdrop. So this is Hyperliquid's new layer 1 chain. If you've been living under a rock, this is a big deal, and I'm going to show you exactly why in this video and how you can take advantage of the opportunity that is right in front of us. This is absolutely massive, so make sure you pay full attention to this video and follow everything through. So if you don't already know, Hyperliquid is taking the crypto world by storm. Hyperliquid is a perps DEX that is evolving and taking over market share of Binance and OKX and all of these big top exchanges. So they've just rolled out their new layer 1 chain. They are building the house of finance, essentially putting finance fully on chain, fully into the user's hands for the first time. This is the first time that we've seen a DEX pulling billions and billions of volume on pair with the top centralized exchanges going toe to toe. So this is a big deal, and you need to listen up. Now I'm going to show you in this video why, but if you don't just want to take my word for it, watch this.
No, I would just say Hyperliquid is the future, and it's the biggest opportunity since Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I second that.
Also understand this, Hyperliquid was the biggest airdrop we've ever seen in crypto. They airdropped billions of dollars worth of value to their users just through trading on their platform. Billions of dollars of free money. Now look, again, if you've been living under a rock and you didn't hear about this airdrop and you don't believe me, read this. The average Hype airdrop is now worth $28,000. And this post was written back in December 1st. Okay, pay attention to this date. Now, if we take a look at the Hype token, back in December 1st, 2024, the price was $8.60 per Hype. This was the previous airdrop. The price has since gone up to $42. That is a 5x return on the airdrop, which means that the average airdrop is significantly higher than this. We are talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that many people have received just through trading on Hyperliquid. And what's even juicier about this is they have 42% of the supply left for community rewards. What do you think that means, guys? They've just rolled out their new layer 1 chain. You don't think that people using that are gonna get a reward, they're gonna get an airdrop? Of course they are. And imagine if they airdrop just 4% of that 42% supply reserved purely for community rewards. Just 10% of that. It's going to be bigger than the first airdrop. We're talking billions of dollars again. If the average Hype airdrop is now worth over $100,000 and this airdrop is likely going to be bigger, what does that tell you? That tells you need to position yourself accordingly in order to get a slice of the pie. So how do we do that? First of all, you're going to need to be on Hyperliquid, of course. I'll leave a link to Hyperliquid in the description or in the pinned comment below. If you sign up using that link, you will get 4% discounted trading fees. So definitely make use of that link. And it will also enable you to be able to earn points, which is what you need to do. So once you've done that, connect your wallet. And now this is going to be your Hyper EVM. And now this is going to be your Hyperliquid wallet that you're going to be using to farm all of these points. So firstly, how can we get involved? So you're going to need to bridge funds over. The easiest way to do this, if you're bridging with size, is to deposit USDC into a centralized exchange, whatever centralized exchange you like to use. I use MEXC. So send your USDC into your exchange and then withdraw that USDC back to your wallet through Arbitrum network. You're going to need USDC on Arbitrum because Hyperliquid primarily uses Arbitrum. The best way to do this is with a centralized exchange because if you're bridging with size, it's going to be extremely cheap. You're not going to use, the fees are very small. I just withdrew $6,000 and you can see it only charged me 10 cents. I'm going to be further deploying these funds into the Hyperliquid ecosystem. So I'm going to explain everything now in this video. So what you're going to need to do once you've got your USDC on Hyperliquid is you're going to want to trade on Hyperliquid. And you can do this a few ways. You can do your perps trading on Hyperliquid. So you can trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, or any of these perps that they have available. Or you can also do some spot buying. So for example, you can come on over to the spot and you can see if any coin picks your fancy. This Buddy coin is a popular meme coin at the moment. So you could come on over to here. Firstly, you're going to want to deposit, of course, actually. So click deposit, click enable the connection. And then here you can deposit from the funds that are in your wallet. So let's say we want to deposit $500. We click that, then we click deposit. And then we sign the transaction. You can see it here, $500, and that is in perps. You're then going to want to click transfer to spot if you want to buy spot. If you want to trade perps and trade leverage, leave it in your perps wallet. Then click max confirm. Right now I can buy this buddy token. So let's say I want to buy $500 worth of buddy. Market buy, place order. Okay, and now we own $500 worth of buddy, and we can see it down here in our balances, and we can see our current P&L on that trade. We can also head over to portfolio, and we can see that here. We can then also click transfer to and from EVM, which is the Hyper EVM chain. That's Hyperliquid's layer 1 chain. So I'd recommend using the Hyperliquid platform to do all of your perps leverage trading, that's futures trading. Also potentially just buy a few coins on spot and hold them. Then you're going to also want to use the vaults. So deposit into some of the vaults. I recommend depositing into Hyperliquid's own vault, the HLP vault. This is the protocol vault, and this is the most stable, steady return on your investment. So I recommend putting some money into the Hyperliquid vault. I then also recommend potentially having a look through the user vaults, and if there's any users that you think are going to perform well long term, then you can deposit funds with them. Now, I also recommend staking. You're going to want to stake because Hyperliquid is a proof of stake network. So by you staking your hype, you are confirming to them that you are supporting their network, and you are likely going to be rewarded for doing so. So 100% buy some hype, go to trade, spot, hype, purchase some hype, and then you want to stake that hype. And you can pick any of these validators really. It doesn't matter too much. Just find one that you like and stake with them. Now that you've done that, you're going to want to bridge. So to do this, we can use Unit, HyBridge, or Hyperswap Bridge. So I'll leave links to all of these in the description below, but it's fairly simple. All you need to do is click the link and then bridge over some funds. Hyperswap is like the Uniswap of Hyper EVM. You can deposit from any of these networks here and receive your funds on Hyper EVM. So now that we've bridged in, what we want to do is we want to start using the ecosystem. We want to start using all of the protocols on Hyper EVM, because this is what's going to gain us points across the whole ecosystem and is going to reward us handsomely with a nice airdrop. So you can come on over to DeFi Llama and you can select Hyperliquid L1 and you can see all of the popular protocols on Hyper EVM. You can see all the TVLs and you can just keep track of everything here. So I'd recommend sticking to the top ones and some of the middle ones as well. But you want to watch out for some of these because obviously it's a new emerging ecosystem and we're dealing with smart contracts here. A lot of the times smart contracts can be exploited, hacks can happen, and funds can be lost. So you want to make sure that you're using protocols that have been around a little while, which is some of the top ones, and just make sure that they're safe. So ones that I'd recommend is Hyperlend, Felix, Hyperfi, Morpho, Hyperbeat, Hyperswap. Kitten Finance is fine so far. Now this doesn't have everything on here, so you are going to want to do your own research, but the ones that I'd recommend are Hyperbeat, Hyperfi, Hyperswap, HyBridge for bridging, Hyperlend, Felix is for stablecoins. You can use HL names, that's for buying ENS. Drip Trade is for buying NFTs. Liquid Swap is a good one. It's a DEX aggregator and it's like the pump fund version of Hyper EVM with their liquid launch. Liminal is a good one. I'm going to get onto that soon. We're just waiting for the TVL cap to increase, and potentially Loop Type. So far we've bridged in funds to Hyperliquid. We're trading on there. We're putting through some good volume. We're staking. So we have Hyperliquid exchange ticked off. We've then bridged our funds over to the Hyper EVM and we have available hype that we can start trading with. So you can watch my first airdrop video because in that video I explain everything about all of these protocols that I've just recommended that you use to stake hype, borrow hype, lend hype, and do all sorts of different things across the different protocols that's going to earn you points for being active using all the protocols in the ecosystem, and that is what gains you the points to get airdrops. So not only are you going to potentially get a Hyperliquid airdrop for their season 3, but we are working for the Hyper EVM airdrop. That is what we're doing here. Their new layer 1 chain, we're going for the Hyper EVM airdrop. But as well as that, because we're using all these different protocols and they've all got points, they may even have their own tokens come out, and we're also incidentally farming those potential tokens as well for those other platforms. So this is how you do it, guys. This is what you need to be doing. So make sure you go and watch that video and then come back to this one, because that is the core. That is all of the core things you need to be doing. Now, once you've done that, I'm going to tell you some other cool protocols that you can use. So Sentiment is another one that I've just found, and this is a leverage lending protocol. Again, so it's all about borrowing and lending pretty much. You can see they've got 33 million total value locked, 12 million in borrows, and see only 5,500 users. Guys, we are very, very early to this. Most protocols soon are going to have at least 20,000 users, and even that is still very, very low. If you look at the amount of users using protocols on Ethereum, it's in the hundreds of thousands. People using Aave, Curve Finance, all of these things, it's multiple hundreds of thousands. So we're going to connect our wallet, and make sure you're doing everything in the same wallet, guys. And then we're going to switch to Hyperliquid, Hyper EVM. Okay, so let's deposit some Hype into the Hype Super Pool. So let's click deposit, and you can see we're projected a 2.72% APY, and the TVL is currently 12.5 mil. So let's just say we want to do 3 Hype. Deposit. Okay, so now we've lent out some Hype, let's also borrow some Hype. So we're going to go for this one, and we're going to borrow some Hype. So the minimum we can borrow is 3.31 Hype. So we're going to need to deposit 5 Hype for that. So let's deposit, and that's wrapped stake Hype. Then click create position. Okay, and that is now done. And that is at a 66% loan to value. So now you've done that, you don't have to do anything more. We can now head over to Hyperdrive, and we're going to do the same thing. And what we're going to do on here is liquid stake Hype. We're going to be earning rewards whilst using it as collateral, unlocking its liquidity for DeFi. So let's go ahead and launch app. Confirm this. If you are in USA, you're going to need to use a VPN to access this site. If you're in the US in general, I think you need to use a VPN for Hyperliquid. Right now, connect your wallet. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to head over to borrow, and then we want to click this plus. I want to supply some wrapped staked Hype. So let's do 3 Hype again. This will then be used as our collateral, allowing us to borrow. So now we can click this borrow button, and we are allowed to borrow up to 2 Hype. Let's say we just want to borrow 1 Hype. Click approve. Now, how much you do will depend on your strategy. If you're coming into this game with size, and you've done borrowing and lending before, and you know your risk tolerance, and you've got your setup in place, then of course you don't have to do like me. I'm just showing you as a test transaction. Right, so now let's confirm that. Click borrow. And now we are borrowing Hype. So we've supplied Hype, and now we are borrowing Hype. So those are the 2 new protocols for today's Hyperliquid airdrop video. I'll be dropping more protocols that you guys can use in the future, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see more Hyperliquid content. Make sure to watch my full airdrop guide in the description below, and I will catch you guys in the next video.